to Black American heritage at Essence Fest. So it's night one or night two, and there is a lot of complaints coming through, and the common consensus is the culture has shifted. It no longer feels like us. And honestly, that makes sense because the people in charge now do not value Black heritage. Essence Fest used to be known as the Cookout. It was created in 1995, created to center Black American heritage, the music, fashion, beauty, political power. It was basically like the family reunion created by Black people for Black people. Soul food, a little gospel, a little trap, NOLA. It was a culture that you felt deep in your chest. But now, not so much. It feels somewhat curated, corporatized, and it no longer feels like it centers us. The current CEO of Essence is a former DEI executive for Target. So the very thing that Black Americans are protesting, she was the center of, and now she's the center, well, she's the head, the CEO of Essence. Upon more research, I found out that she is originally from Kenya, and she moved to the US when she was about 10 years old. The point of me bringing that up is she doesn't seem like she values Black American heritage, because if she did care, the festival will still reflect the very people it was built for. And seeing as though that's not the case, I can't help but think that she does not value Black American heritage. Instead, it's become a space that uplifts everyone else aside from Black American heritage. That shift is starting to feel really intentional. Local Black vendors are being pushed out, local creators and influencers are overlooked completely, all while being the very representation that is needed for Black-centered heritage in the South. It doesn't make any sense to me. It has slowly become a place that has been curated for optics and not community. This very thing is exactly what I was talking about in my previous videos when I asked the question, where are the Black American beauty creators? The answer is, we're being pushed out of the very spaces created and centered for us. And not just pushed out of these spaces like Essence Fest, but panels, brand deals, sponsorships, media. And all of this didn't happen by accident. It has happened through leadership, branding pivots, and sponsorship deals that prioritize global Blackness. Global Blackness, a movement that often leaves out the specific culture and heritage of Black Americans. And when brands talk about inclusion but sideline the very creators who made the culture, we should all be asking, if Essence no longer feels like us, who is it for?
You attended the last Essence Festival and you were one of the many people who felt that the vibe was off. Well, I did a deep dive, so you don't have to, that may explain why that is. But let me start at the very beginning. Essence Magazine was founded by Edward Lewis, Clarence O. Thomas, Cecil Hollingsworth, Jonathan Blunt, and a woman by the name of Denise M. Clark. They formed a company called Essence Communications, Inc. in 1968. They launched the magazine in May of 1970. The magazine started off with a circulation of about 50,000 copies a month, but then at its height, it had 1.6 million copies in circulation each and every month. The magazine's mission was to be a lifestyle magazine geared towards upscale African American women. In 2000, Time Inc., that is the company that publishes Time Magazine, Sports Illustrated, Fortune, they purchased a 49% ownership stake in Essence Communications, Inc. And then in 2005, they purchased the rest of the ownership stake, so they owned Essence Magazine. But in 2018, Essence was sold to this man. His name is Richelieu Dennis, and his background is interesting. Richelieu Dennis is an immigrant from Liberia. That's where he grew up. And he came to the United States to attend college. After he graduated from college, he started a bath and hair care line called Sundial Brands. He grew the company. It became very successful. And in 2017, he sold Sundial Brands to Unilever. And then in 2018, he went to Time Inc. and bought Essence Communications Inc., becoming the owner of Essence Magazine and the Essence Festival. But after he purchased Essence Magazine in 2018, things really took a weird, unfortunate turn. According to reporting by The Root, in 2020, and of course, you all know that was the first year that it was pure chaos because the pandemic was raging all over the world. There was a group of anonymous employees, both former employees and believed to be some current at the time employees of Essence, who, under the name hashtag Black Female Anonymous, wrote an open letter and they published it to medium.com. And the contents of that open letter were quite disturbing. They accused Dennis and other C-suite executives at Essence Ventures, the new company that controlled Essence Magazine and the Essence Festival, of various abuses, including abuses of power, bullying, creating a toxic work environment, and even more unsettling, they specifically accused Dennis of having inappropriate relationships in the workplace and also sexual harassment. Now, when these allegations were published, many of the accused executives had already moved on from the company. But Dennis stepped aside and he tapped Caroline Wanga, who was an executive at Target, to come over and serve as interim of Essence Ventures that controlled Essence Magazine and Essence Festival. Reportedly, Wanga retained an outside law firm that did an internal investigation of all of the allegations. The law firm reported that they could find no evidence to substantiate the allegations, and it all went away. But Wanga continued on as CEO of Essence Ventures, a position that she holds to this day. Carolyn Wanga is an immigrant from Kenya. So now you have a 55-year-old Black American institution that was created to edify and celebrate Black American women and Black American culture in the hands of owners who are not Black American. They are immigrants from Africa, and that does make a big difference. And I know there are going to be people coming into my comments saying, you're being divisive. No, I am not. What I am tired of is I am tired of Black Americans, our struggles and our fights for liberation and everything that we build being taken by others and used to springboard them into the access that we still have to fight for. I grew up with my mother reading Essence Magazine all throughout my childhood. Essence Magazine and Ebony were all over our house. And so this does mean a great deal to me, as I know that it means a great deal to you all. And now this institution is in the hands of Africans. And if you felt during the last Essence Festival that the focus was different, that may be intentional. I want to shout out my mutual, Tabitha Speaks Politics. I'm going to tag her in the caption of this video. Please go watch her video where she does a deep dive into the agenda that both Dennis and Carolyn Wanga have for not only Essence Magazine, but Essence Festival moving forward. And I would just say that Black American women and Black American culture are not the planned focus going forward. And I really do have a problem with that. I just want to say that not all skin folk are kinfolk.
Look at this. Somebody come look at this. Look at this. Somebody come and look at this. Look at this.
I just watched a video from Tabitha talking about Essence Fest. And of course, as she does, excellent breakdown, excellent information. I'm going to tag it in the caption. It's 15 minutes long, but worth every minute. And if you watch her video right after this one, everything will make sense. I did not go to Essence Fest, but I'm seeing the same content that people are saying that the vibe was off. Something was wrong. It didn't feel right. It wasn't giving this year. Well, if you didn't know, the person who bought Essence Industries, or Essence, the umbrella company, is a Nigerian man. The person who was over Essence Fest is a Kenyan woman. Now, according to Essence Publications, Black Americans have over $1.4 trillion, trillion with a T, worth of spending power. And the diaspora wants a piece of that. And they started with the Essence Festival. Because Essence Fest is one of the highest grossing events in this country. In 2024, Essence Fest brought about $350 million to the New Orleans economy. Now in 2025, with this huge festival, this important festival that has always been ran by Black Americans, the whole Essence organization from the publication on down has always been run by Black Americans, suddenly goes into other diaspora hands and it flops. Now, as I was listening to Tabitha's video, the only thing that kept going through my mind is, do y'all remember those old school Nigerian email scams? That's what it was giving. It was giving Nigerian king, Nigerian, I have $10 million stuck. If you send me $10,000, I can get my money out, blah, blah, blah. Y'all remember those emails? And if you don't remember those emails, you're even too young to be watching this video. Because Mr. Dennis, the owner of Essence, the Essence Company, it has another name, but I can't think of it, wants to tap into the 1.4 or more trillion dollars of buying power that Black Americans have and call it building a bridge. However, take that money and take it back to Nigeria. Because the whole point of him wanting to bridge this gap is to focus on the arts and the music and the things that Nigeria has to offer. And to use that money to focus on other African countries, but not use that money to build up the people who spent the money in the first place. So if you went to Essence Fest and realized that there was more of a focus on jollof rice and less focus on jambalaya, that's why. As per the world trend, they want to use our bodies, they want to use our resources, they want to use our money, they want to use our talents to help build up another country, other countries, but leave us out of it. So my solution, cancel everything Essence. Everything Essence until there are Black Americans back at the head of that company, full stop. No more paper magazine, no more digital magazine, no more Essence Fest. Nothing sponsored by Essence should be touched by us. And this explains why it was so easy for them to take that money from Target, because they don't care about our trials and tribulations. They don't care about our history because they don't have any connection to it. And you know they already think that we're dumb and lazy. They're raised to believe that we're dumb and lazy. This is the season for the world to learn to stop messing with us. The karmic shift that I've been talking about, this is part of it. No more allowing other people to get rich off of our hard work. 1.5 something, 6 something trillion dollars worth of buying power. We have the power. It's time for us to start using it.
It's the attendance vote.
Yeah.
Fuck the streaming. I'm with y'all. That's not their thing. But if you missing the attendance vote, then it's time to talk about other votes.
Well, then that changes. Now you need the acts that...
Not only that.
Wallow wasn't there. Fuck the streamers. Wallow was gone. Rashad wasn't there. What are we talking about? We Black culture. We know what the fuck Black culture looks like for the last 10 years. Stop, because we on the pod. You can say it. We can say it. People are missing the boat on Black culture. Why is that difficult to say as Black people?
Breaking news you can use, folks. You're going to want to hear this. Folks, the Essence Festival that happened the past weekend is being described as what is called a flop. And not just because of the low entrance numbers, but also because the focus not being on Black American culture and instead being focused on African and African Caribbean culture. There is a video circulating of the organizer of the Essence Festival, an African woman, saying that in her African accent, the Essence Festival will be going back to its African original roots. Folks, that was the words and mannerisms of the organizer of the Essence Festival, not the thoughts and opinion of this reporter. Because of all this, the question has arose, have they even cracked open an Essence magazine? Keep in mind that the Essence Festival is the biggest Black American culture festival in the world. It's a huge deal and held very near and dear to Black Americans' hearts. Some travel miles and miles away, save up a lot of money just to attend. 500,000 people attend annually, and New Orleans usually takes in about $200 million for this festival. So to turn the focus onto any other culture but Black American culture, when its foundation in 1995 was specific to highlight Black American culture, is odd. I wouldn't go to a Fulani mating ceremony and take a stick to jump up and down with the men and cover myself in mud, then proceed to take my nomadic ass and capture African people and sell them to the Arabs. So why would someone feel comfortable coming into a Black American culture space, leading it, changing the focus away from Black Americans and their culture? Just food for thought. This is Crystal Black, and this has been News You Can Use. Toodaloo.
Drop. And so ends the interview. Oh, wow. That powerful voice you heard right there is our next guest. I don't even know if she recalls the moment we crossed paths in Lower Manhattan on the side of the Soho House.
We were showing off swag.
We sure did. I remember vividly.
Who was with you?
Was it Kanan?
It was Kanan.
Mr. You know he gonna love that we said his name on here.
It was Kanan, our brother Kanan. You know Kanan.
We all know Kanan. If you don't know Kanan, it's your fault.
Kanan's been on the show. We know Kanan. Yeah, everybody knows Kanan. And that's when I was made aware that you were the president and CEO of Essence Ventures. And I was like, I am so pleased to meet you. And I recall that day saying you'd be more than welcome to come up on this show.
You did say that.
And listen how it came to fruition, Heather B.
Talk to me.
Okay, we have a powerful person right here. This spirit right here resonates all over the globe. What she does is she champions authenticity, and she does it well. She's a self-proclaimed cultural architect with the passion for constructing, deconstructing, and reconstruction of organized culture. She's here with us today. She did it for Target for 15 years. Okay, wow. And now she's doing it for Essence, and who's to say for how long? As long as we got her, we are truly blessed. I want to welcome her to the show. The one and only Caroline Wenger is here. Come on.
Wow. I ain't gonna hold y'all too long. I want to talk about the Essence Festival real quick. And I got a short video, a couple things to show you why it flopped. So there's a lot on social media about why the Essence Festival this year flopped. And predominantly, it's because it has been co-opted by Africans. So I want y'all to watch this video. This is the CEO. Her name is Caroline. Fucking can't remember her last name. Wagamba or some shit. I don't fucking know. I forgot it. Don't matter. I'll tag her at the bottom or something. The CEO, and she's on Sway in the Morning, right? And she said something that I found very fucking interesting. I'm less than a minute in, mind you. I want y'all to watch this real quick, and I'll be right back.
Authenticity, and she does it well. She's a self-proclaimed cultural architect with the passion for constructing, deconstructing, and reconstruction of organized culture. She's here with us today.
So, I mean, say the quiet part out loud, why don't you? I mean, did y'all hear what the fuck I heard? And this is the only time that I'm going to say this. Probably, I might say it again throughout this journalistic journey I'm going through, trying to figure this shit out. This is the most literal way I could say, fucking how, Sway? How? You read the shit. How? Did you read that shit? It didn't screw. Wait, whoa, what do you mean by this? Let me show you what she meant by it. So that interview was like 2 years ago. And this year, we see the fruits of her labor. absolute deconstruction of culture. Look at this shit. I've seen high school football and basketball games way more people just in general than this whole fucking stadium. So my question to y'all is, y'all see it now? And the people who've already seen it, y'all see it going on even more. But to the black Americans who haven't seen how they're trying to co-opt our culture, the same way the Mongolian Siberian Huskies did. You know, they're trying to replace us while we're still here, which is absolutely fucking crazy. I'm glad we showed up by not showing up. Because I think a lot of people see this shit for what it is, and shit ain't the same like it used to be no more, man. This is sad, honestly. I got one more thing to show y'all. Watch this. Check this out. I mean, there's so much shit going on with all of this, it's absolutely insane. So this is her wife and her children. African, LGBT, with a white woman, running the biggest black American festival, one of the biggest black American festivals in America, if not the biggest. When she said she came to destroy, basically that's what she told Sway. How, Sway? How didn't you check her on that, Sway? Now we gotta check your card. G. Like, where you from? What's going on? Like, you just watch it happen, let it happen, and then appeal to it, a whole fucking interview. Like, she didn't just tell you at the beginning, she trying to deconstruct our culture. Shit, bro.
The difference between us, when we're speaking generally, is that when black people are talking about us, they're talking about the whole world. When other groups or other cultures are talking, they're talking about just them.
So, on my Essence post, right? Somebody said on my post that now that the Essence Festival is owned by Africans, that they're not going. That people needs to boycott it and people needs to stop going. Which is all fine and dandy. You'll do whatever you want. I'm not into forcing people to go to places they don't want to go to, but here's my question, and this is questions for a lot of Africans. I don't care what part of Africa you come from, and I'm not talking about the older generation, the ma, the pas, the grandmas. I'm talking about us young generations, us young people who are like in their 30s, 40s, and early 50s, right? I'm talking to you guys, right? So, here's my thing. If supporting Africans is a problem, shouldn't we have the same problems with supporting Black Americans? Like, for an example, right? I sit on this app, and I know I could buy things from YouTube. I mean, not YouTube. Yeah, YouTube too, but I know I could buy stuff off of Amazon. Amazon is like the best. Everybody loves Amazon, right? But I sit here on TikTok, and I could show you my invoice list. I sit here on TikTok, and I be looking at all these creators and all these people selling things, right? They selling me mops, they selling me clothing, they selling me hair product, they selling me wigs, they selling me panties, they selling me bras. Anything you could think of is being sold on the app, right? By everybody, by different people from different diaspora, right? So Africans, people from Africa now, would it be smart if we don't buy off of Black content creators? I mean, because like they really want this separation stuff. Like when I'm looking at everybody's videos and I'd be like, ooh, damn, that scarf is so cute. Oh my goodness, those glasses are so cute. Oh my goodness, that top is so cute. And I see you guys putting it on and trying it on. I never think, is this a FBA or is this an African person from Africa? Because I only want to buy from Africa and people from Africa. And I just want to support people from Africa. Like, I mean, is this where we're going? Is this where we're going? Oh, like they love to say we love the white man so much. Maybe we should just support them. Maybe we should just buy our spin mops, our buckets, and everything from the Clears. Because I'm sure, I am very sure that FBAs do not want us buying anything from them. I'm sure they don't want us to support them. I'm sure they don't want us to buy their plates and their clothing and whatever they selling on their page, right? We got to start inboxing and asking, what part of Africa you from? I'm just saying, because I have no problem with buying from the white man. I don't. I only started in my black bag when Issa Rae came out. And Issa Rae was like, I'm supporting everybody black. I was like, yes. Why haven't I just been supporting everybody black? And then you know what? I went running to support everybody black. As long as I see a black face there and you're selling the stuff, I go and purchase it, whether I need it or not, whether I really want it or not. Because there's a lot of things that I be wanting. I mean, there's a lot of things I be buying and I don't be needing it. So is that what we're going to start doing now? Everybody support their own, right? Instead of me going to the soul food place to eat, I should just go to African restaurants to eat. Is that what we're doing now? I mean, because that's what they clearly made it seem on my post about the Essence. Like, oh, we're not supporting it because they're a bunch of Africans. Really? Be careful of what you ask for. Be careful of what you ask for. My father always told me that. Be very careful of what you ask for. You might get it. And then you will be the same one up here crying, talking about, we don't support each other. Well, you said you didn't want no supports from Africans. Remember that.
Culture means earth, motherland, Africa, originality. So yes, whatever it is, if you're African, go back to Africa and connect to your source.
They didn't Africanize the Essence Festival. An African lady is over it. They have African vendors there. Juvia's makeup, that's African owned, not black owned. Let's go back to black owned being black American owned. And you see how when they come into these black American spaces, they never give respect nor credit to black Americans. You cannot do that in their spaces. Recently, not too long ago, they had an Afro Fest in Washington, D.C., and they were mad because Gunna was the headliner. How dare a black American person or black American music come into a Afro Fest space? And I'm pretty sure if black Americans was over the Afro Fest, they wouldn't even attend it, right? Here's some of the comments to that Afro Fest, to Gunna being a headliner at Afro Fest in Washington, D.C. You see this? All of them have an issue with Gunna. There's one person like, hey, you know, there's other people that's not African on the list, but why are y'all just singling out Gunna, right? Because he's black American. That's why they're not inclusive in their areas. And you will not be able to run any Afro festival or any Caribbean event at all. So instead of y'all coming into black American spaces, create your own Essence Festival. Because a place like New Orleans, they're not going to go for that. That's a black American space. Now, y'all could pull that off in New York City, because y'all predominantly out there. Y'all could pull that off in Florida, Miami, somewhere, Fort Lauderdale. But New Orleans, come on now. And y'all need to, if y'all do stuff like this, you need to be more inclusive. You see how they come into black American spaces and push out black American people.
Posted a critique that the reason why Essence Fest is probably having low turnout rate is because of the people who are sponsoring it, not the fact that people don't have the money. A bunch of y'all in the comments was talking about that is being taken over by Africans and Caribbeans, and the CEO is Kenyan. Anything that Caribbeans and Africans touch is going to fail when it comes to Black American culture. Let me just show you who actually is a strategic partner to the Essence Festival since 2012. These men. These men are the strategic partners to Essence Festival before rebranded as Essence Festival of the Culture. They have been there since over a decade. On their website, they're responsible for creative development, design and direction, project management, live event production, the actual production of the sounds and the lighting and the different types of logistics, also vendor management and sponsor activation. Sponsor activation. Yeah. I also pulled up this NPR article from 2016 that spoke about that the marketplace was always African Caribbean marketplace before it became Soko, which is the Swahilian word for market. So there has always been a presence of Caribbean and African entrepreneurship at the very least from the early days of the festival when it was celebrating 25 years of Essence magazine in 1995. Further down that same article, it even says that for New Orleans tourists in general who arguably come to the city expecting to experience a particular version of the city's Caribbean and African heritage. Why? Because New Orleans culture is one of the few Black American subcultures that was able to retain a lot of its direct roots to West Africa, because they had the Congo Square, which allowed them every Sunday to bounce the way that you see them bounce today. Gumbo is tied to a lot of African stews, and jambalaya is a direct correlation to jollof. So when you see jollof versus jambalaya, it doesn't seem that far off, because jambalaya comes from them having to use the things that they had resources to in the Americas, but had the techniques of remembering what it was like to make jollof before they were kidnapped and sent to the Americas. So I say all this to say, has always been a presence, it seems, of Caribbean and African business at the very least at Essence Fest. And you're not really mad at the Kenyan CEO, you're mad at the white majority male owned production company that has been in bed with Essence Festival since 2012. These was quick searches. That's all and that's it. We gotta start looking before we start pointing the finger.
Why are there African and Caribbean vendors at Essence Fest?
Because it was originally created by you guys. You know, you created a space for yourself, but then you sold it. You gave it away. Sold it to African people. So now you can't pick and choose who can come into that space because it's no longer yours. You sold it. That's kind of how the law of ownership works. And one thing about Africans, they're going to bring a Caribbean in every fucking time they can because we cousins, we locked in.
This is Luis, a Spanish guy. Not NYC Spanish, but Spanish from real. Like from Spain, speaks proper Spanish. He owns a large percentage of Jamaica's beachfront properties. If y'all don't know, 99.99% of Jamaica's beachfront is privately owned. They're doing Lysol numbers over there. This is the Stewart family. They also own a large percentage of Jamaica's beachfront property. This is Alex and Gordon. Rest in peace to Gordon. This is Alex's family. What a beautiful family. I can smell the wealth right off the picture, right? To be fair, they're Jamaicans, right? They was born and raised in Jamaica. They could trace their lineage back to England. And that explains why a lot of Jamaicans have English last names. These are white Jamaicans. More melanated Jamaicans, the dark-skinned Jamaicans, they can only access 0.6 of their beaches. 0.6% is public beaches. But Alex seemed like a cool white Jamaican. Maybe he'll give you a free tour of one of his beachfront properties. Jamaicans can't even be homeless on their beaches because what can you do with 0.6% access? I can't just talk about Jamaicans, Caribbean people without mentioning their African cousins. The DRC, Congo, brother. China owns 70% of your minerals. 70% of your mining companies belongs to China. Y'all can no longer complain about being exploited or colonized. This is how ownership works.
this whole Essence debacle really exposes Africans. They don't have an impact. Their culture, they don't have an impact on the world like that. You have Africans coming over here looking for stardom, coming over here to get their foot in the door. You never see any Africans make it big out of Africa, right? Let me give you an example. Bob Marley. Bob Marley made it big in Jamaica. He didn't have to flee to another country looking for stardom. He made it big where he was at, right? He made an impact on the world from Jamaica using Jamaican culture. No one's at home practicing to be the next African, whatever music y'all participate in your countries, in all 54 of your countries. No one's at home practicing that. No one's at home practicing your dance moves, whatever those may be. Like, but you see Africans practicing to be rappers, which is not your culture. You see Africans practicing to be R&B singers, which is not your culture, right? You're practicing somebody else's culture. And then on top of that, you go into somebody else's country to platform or to get a chance into stardom. You don't make these impacts from your at home in 54 of your countries. And that's what this whole Essence thing is about. Because Africans haven't built or established a network like Essence that has a name, right? There's no African essences. And that's the only reason they invested and brought Essence. Because the world know who Essence already has a name. There's no African Essence, right? What have Africans, what kind of impact Africans made on the world from Africa?
Keep non-black Americans away from things that are for black Americans. What happened to For Us By Us? Why is there a Miss Black Globe competition at Essence Fest? Essence Fest isn't about all of the black people in the diaspora. It's about black Americans, all right? Why is there a Jollof versus Jambalaya competition at Essence Fest? That's not needed. It's about black Americans. Why are there African and Caribbean vendors at Essence Fest? It's about black Americans, and that's okay. If Caribbeans and Africans want to have an event that's as big as Essence Fest, they can go create it. And that's perfectly fine. But there's a time and a place, all right? From them saying that they have a right to say how Juneteenth should be celebrated a couple weeks ago to now this, is getting out of hand. And for the black Americans that have an issue with other black Americans having pride in being black American, where is your racial self-esteem at? Why is it so low? What the hell is going on?
Okay, I'm back at home. We can actually talk about some things. I am asking because I feel like Essence is one of them events that there are so many events going on that my Essence is going to be different from your Essence. That friend group's different from that friend group. Like Jamila's family came, and they came for obviously our panel, but like their experience at Essence was completely different because they was bouncing around doing the events they wanted to do. I would not categorize my Essence experience as anything other than Black American. I have seen some other critiques in regards to sponsorships, attendance numbers, that I can get into, that I feel like is fair. They said there was an event called Jambalaya and Jollof, which I do have to be transparent. Had I known, I might have gone. Jambalaya was my favorite food growing up. My dad made it every year on my birthday. It makes sense why I like jollof and Spanish rice. I love a tomato-based rice. There's an event every hour on the hour for 4 days straight at Essence. I'm going to name the 5 things, or I don't even know if it's 5, that I saw at Essence that I knew that weren't like based in Black America. I don't know if that is what is influencing this conversation, but I'm asking. The lady who runs it is Kenyan, which, yeah, I'm not gonna boo her, so you ain't gonna get that from me. Her wife is white. See the critique there. You know, I'm just going off what I've heard on the internet, child. 2, DeVito performed. Now, DeVito performed amongst a bunch of other, that was the night Jill Scott, Patti LaBelle, I know Donnell Jones performed that night. It was, and I think there was a video of Chris Tucker dancing to Michael Jackson from that night. Like, it was still Black American vibes in there. 3, Juvia's Place was there. Shout out to Juvia's Place. They actually did our makeup for our panel. And shout out to Benny he did me and Jamila's makeup specifically. He's a makeup artist based in Houston who was working for Juvia's Place at Essence. What was that? Was that 3 or 4? Oh, I saw Bose from Housewives Speak. She was on the main stage, and right after her was Keith Lee, and one of the editors at Essence did an interview. Keith, Chef Kiss, he was eating that interview up. Now that I don't know if that whatever. That's 4 or 5 things that I done seen in the whole weekend. That didn't really make my experience not Black American. So I'm trying to figure out what made y'all experience not Black American. Like, I'm genuinely asking. Because last night, baby, I met Tisha Campbell. I met LL Cool J. I met Luke James. I seen Lance Gross, Jay Alphonse. I seen Slim from 112. Oh my God, last night was a movie. Shout out to Akeem, Kimmy Casanova. That's our homeboy. He tore the fucking house down. Jackson, Mississippi. Black American as fuck. That event last night was Black American as fuck. So I'm like, I don't know what y'all talking about. I don't know.
So y'all, there's a lot of conversation going on right about the Essence Fest. But the thing that I find to be most interesting is that I'm seeing a lot of comments from folk from the Caribbeans, right? And folk from African countries that are very confused as to why Black Americans are doing the commentaries that they're doing on Essence Fest. Okay. And I've realized what it is, because they all confused. They're like, so what? We're all Black, you know? And it's like, yeah, but we all don't have the same culture. We don't all have the same culture. If you are expecting to go to a Nigerian wedding and you see a whole bunch of Black American shit in there, you're going to say this is not a Nigerian wedding, right? If you're expecting to go to Carnival, okay, for whatever island it is, right, and you see a bunch of Black American shit in there, you're going to say this is not Carnival. Like, this ain't what we do, right? Well, that's what's going on with Essence Fest, okay? It's not Essence Fest. And Essence Fest was a Black American event. It was a Black American thing. And I know that y'all spend so much time convincing yourselves that we don't have no culture. And I think that that's the issue of what happened with the people who are running Essence now, is that because they devalued Black American culture, because we do see that happen all the time in regard to like the diaspora, they didn't know that we was gonna be like, hell nah, and cancel the fuck out of that shit. They didn't think that it would be a big deal and that we would view it as gentrification. Okay. And I say colonization, because I feel like a lot of shit they do really be colonizing. They see something that's Black American and they say, I'm gonna go colonize this, even us. Okay, they see us and be like, I'm gonna go colonize them. Like, no, leave us alone. Okay, and that's what happened with Essence Fest. That's really what's going on. They if you dismiss somebody's culture and refuse to admit that somebody's culture exists, then you're not factoring it in your equation that, one, that would be offensive to them, and two, that they wouldn't support it, and three, that the only reason they supported it is because of their culture. That it was a gathering spot to celebrate, you know, their people, their fashion, their style, their food. You wouldn't understand that. So I think that in regard to when they try to do this stuff, when they try to like do these expansions or whatever, they oftentimes underestimate the Black American viewpoint and perspective, because they don't consider it exists, because they don't think that, I don't know, that they don't think that Black American culture exists, or that it means something to us. But I know my ass won't be at Essence Fest next year either. So, and then they also jacked prices was ridiculous too. That was another thing. I wasn't gonna go anyway, because I'm like, they didn't have a lot of Black American representation. They didn't have a lot of Black American events. They just didn't. That to me was another Caribbean and African festival that had nothing to do with the Essence that we knew. Okay. Y'all tell me what y'all think. And I also think that y'all should start hiding other Black American events and things from these motherfuckers too. Because we was talking about gatekeeper from the white folk. We want gatekeep from them motherfuckers too. Have a good day.
Move out. We are taking over. Go cry to master. Black Americans, I want y'all to understand why delineation is the best thing ever that we are doing. Essence Festival showed the world that we're delineating from these people. They can't get nothing popping in America without tethering on to us. They just can't. They can't do it. I'm sorry, they just can't do it. It's a reason why things are happening to them. It's a reason why, if y'all ever watch these deportation videos where Africans got to go back to their homeland, oh, they boo-hooing crying. They boo-hooing and crying. They do not want to go back. Don't let these people trick you into thinking like, hey, we Pan-Africanism. I'm going to get to that too. But hey, y'all should go back to Africa. It's beautiful out here. Da-da-da-da. We got culture and blah, 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 and all that. Why they not going back? They want to replace us here in America. They want to down-talk America, but uplift Africa. But if you really think about it, ain't nothing popping in Africa. Y'all seen videos of Black Americans going out there trying to help. They getting unalived out there. They getting their land took out there. It ain't nothing positive to go out there. I've been there before. You land in Lagos in Nigeria or whatever, as soon as you get out there, it's a shakedown. It's a shakedown. You can't even just walk through the airport without 50 people begging you for money, begging you to pay this, pay that. You got even officers out there trying to scam you out of money. Why would you want to go there? How can we work with scammers like that? Huh? Why we want to work with people like this right here? Huh? I've been saying this since I've been on this app about these people. Not all my African brothers are like this and sisters are like this. But we got these over here that's like this, over here right now. And they just wait, they just want us to leave, but they would never leave. They would never leave. And we ain't going nowhere. We don't flee. We never fled. My great-grandparents never said, America getting so bad, you know, Jim Crow, oh my God, slavery, oh my God, we getting hung from trees. I think we should run to Africa. My great-grandparents never say we're going to stay here and fight for what's ours. We don't blame the government for everything. We know what the government do. We're going to fight back against the government. We don't blame the leaders. We change the leaders. If the leaders ain't doing nothing, we're going to change them again. We ain't like these people, bro. They ain't got our spirit, man. They ain't got our spirit. That's why Essence failed. That's what anything they attach themselves to fail. It goes back to movies. Movies fail. When they try to play our icons, it failed. Look at the Harriet movie. Failed. You got an African playing Harriet Tubman. It wasn't even natural. Look at it. Yeah, but anyway, y'all have a good Sunday.
The last one is world. What does that mean? It means something really simple that is a pet peeve of mine that I'm going to put on the table and then we're going to shut up. All this BS about African versus U.S. black versus Caribbean black versus Canadian black versus Antarctica black. I don't have facts to prove that. We everywhere. Arctic black. If you allow that narrative to exist within you, you're participating in dismantling who we're supposed to be in this world, y'all. Rich and I are no less dedicated to the black community in the US than we are to the black community in Africa and in the Caribbean and in Europe. And the fact that our descent is African and your descent might be different does not mean that we can't represent all. And we're not fighting for all. And we keep letting this narrative exist in the world. I told y'all this is me. If you were calling me, this is how it would come out, y'all. And I'm going to tell you why I'm triggered on that in a second. Anybody can believe what they want to believe. What I need the world part of this to do is to proactively dismantle the part of that conversation that is about if you ain't in a black I certify, you don't deserve to help make black better.
Essence Fest is whack and washed now because it's run by a bunch of Africans. There is no black American culture that is reflected in Essence Fest anymore. Essence's CEO is an African. The chief, I don't know, one of their chief top level executives and officers is an African. The person that owns Essence Ventures is an African. So what used to be a celebration of Black American culture, the culture that is ours, the culture that we built from the ground up, the culture that Black Americans influenced the world through, has now been co-opted by some African diaspora, Pan-African, whatever, and a lot of Black people are just not feeling it. Now, I went to Essence Fest for the first time a couple of years ago. I think it was like Nicki Minaj, New Edition, and Janet Jackson were the headliners. It was absolutely incredible. It was a celebration of Black Americanness. There were Black people in and up and through it. It was a pure celebration of Black American culture and Black American heritage. But now that it's been co-opted by a bunch of Africans, it seems that nobody cares because they don't set culture for this world. We do. And until Essence Fest gets back to the Black Americans who created it and founded it and lead the culture, it will continue to fail with those Africans in charge.
Listen, I don't mess with diaspora wars because I love Black people. I love all Black people. And I love Black cultures. But let's be, like, for real. People really in the diaspora was really shitting on Black Americans. For whatever reason, they tried to say we didn't have culture. They've been saying it for years. The anti-Blackness when it came to Black Americans was high. I saw it. I just didn't comment on it because I don't want to participate in diaspora wars. But I didn't know that they were really taking that seriously. I didn't know that they believed it. I thought they were just trolling Black people. But Essence Fest really showed them that we do have culture, didn't it? Because we didn't show up. And the fact that you took a festival that has traditionally been known as Black American culture, you cannot deny it. I guess you tried. You tried it because that's Black American culture through and through. It was even in the movie Girls Trip. What did y'all think that was? And now you're going to try to do Essence Fest. That's why there wasn't nobody there. Talk about some, what was it, Jollof rice competition? Are you serious? Like, are we being for real right now? I'm just happy that in this moment, people are really starting to wake up to the reality that is Black American culture. Between Black Americans sticking together and not going out and fighting ICE, and Black Americans not showing up for Essence Fest when our culture isn't represented. Y'all finding out, ain't you? I'm serious. This, and I'm glad that you are finding out. Because let's just put this to bed. Let's put it to rest that Black Americans don't have culture. Because now you're finding out. When we don't show up, all of a sudden, it's where the Black Americans. I thought we didn't have culture. Why are you worried about us? And this is my thing. Y'all never apologize. You just expect us to come. You think we forgot about the things you said about us? I don't understand why people don't come back to us, Latinos included, and say, you know what? There is anti-Blackness. We were talking about you. And you know what? Now we recognize the error of our ways. We're sorry and we need your help. No, you don't do that. You just expect us to do it. And then when we don't do it, you say we're next. Okay, let's find out.
Some of us Africans are real hypocrites, and I say that as a Congolese woman born and raised in Germany, so I'm including myself too. What I want to say is that we need to be a bit more sensible to one another because it's not easy navigating spaces that were not built for us. This year, Essence Festival in NOLA went viral for many reasons, but what I want to speak about is this tension that came up because a lot of Black Americans felt like their space was being diluted and overshadowed by African influences. To me, this isn't about right or wrong. Hurtful things have been said on both sides, but they stem from rejection, and a lot of us Africans are the root of said rejection. For years, we've mocked them. For years, we've called them akata. We've told them that they don't know their roots, that they don't have culture, or made fun of them for not knowing where they're really from. Afro-Latinos versus Latinos, North Africans versus Sub-Saharan Africans, Africans living in the diaspora versus Africans living on the continent. It's always the same cycle of rejection, identity, pain. People just want to feel like they belong. People just want to feel understood. As a natural human response, when people feel they've been excluded for years, they're just going to create spaces that are exclusively built for them. And let's be honest, us Africans, we benefit a lot from Black American culture. We take from it all the time. Just look at me, the way that I speak, the way that I act, the way that I dress, the way that I do my hair, the way that I do my makeup. It's all been heavily influenced by Black American culture. The slang we use, the TikTok trends we follow, the dances, the music we listen to, a lot of that comes from them. So we can't keep benefiting from the culture and then get mad when the people, the originators of said culture, is like, hey, this doesn't feel like it still belongs to us. I also think it's important to remember from time to time that Black Americans are hundreds of years removed from the continent. They didn't leave voluntarily. They were taken by force, by slavery, through violence. So when some of them say that they don't feel like they're African American and they only feel Black American, can you really blame them? Controversial example, but take Donald Trump. His grandfather immigrated to the United States from Germany. That's only 2 generations removed. But you don't see Trump walking around identifying as a German American. He's just American because that's the country he grew up in. And that's the culture that he knows. Same thing goes for a lot of Africans in the diaspora. When you ask them where they're from, they're going to first mention the country that they live in, the country that they were born in, before they say, oh, but my parents are from. So why do we expect people who are hundreds of years removed to have the same culture, the same values, the same upbringing, this strong tie to Africa? It doesn't make sense. Yes, some do try to reconnect and some are interested to visit what they call the motherland, but it's not by force. Don't get me wrong, I am a Pan-Africanist. I believe in Black unity. Just look at what we were capable in 2020. What happened globally around George Floyd showed us what unity can look like. In that moment, no one cared if he was Dominican, African American, Black American, Ghanaian, Afro-German, Afro-Italian. That was a Black man. We all understood this could have been my father, my uncle, my neighbor. This could have been my brother. So how is it that 5 years later, this is where we end up? Like I said, I was born and raised in Germany, meaning that I grew up in predominantly white spaces. Went to a predominantly white school, then later predominantly white private university. Yet I've always moved between cultures. So I'm very familiar to what it means to be too Black, not Black enough, not African enough, too African, depending on who I was around. So I understand that at the end of the day, we're all navigating identity crises. We just want to belong. We want to be seen, we want to be accepted, and we want to feel like what's ours is ours. Please, let's just be a bit more mindful of one another on both sides. If you're still with me right now and these kind of conversations matter to you, this is part of the stuff that I speak about on my podcast called The Soul Talks Club. It's a space that I created for people who share my story, but also struggle with identity from time to time, with mental health, with societal pressures, basically all the topics that are taboo in our communities. In summary, I don't agree with the divisiveness on each end. I understand the sentiment of Black Americans. I don't condone any of the hurtful things that any of the sides are throwing at each other. It's distracting from what actually matters. Let's be respectful to one another. Let's not expect of other people to act and think the same way that we do. We all have different influences. Our environments shape who we are as a person. Let's be open and let's stay respectful, yeah?
The Essence Festival under the control of Africans and Caribbeans. They are ruining our culture events at every turn. HBCUs are next.
I told y'all, those people are gunning for your square. They have zero intentions on going back and building their nations, and now they are gunning for your square in your HBCUs, for your cultural events, in higher offices, taking CEO and C-suites for these organizations. And y'all thought it was a game. Y'all can play and pitter-patter on the internet all day long, while people are waging war on you. Get it together. Because while they're deeply unserious in saying that they are stewards of their culture and not wanting to return and better those nations, you as an African American person are also deeply unserious. If you are playing and pitter-pattering and twiddling your thumbs on the internet all day and refusing to go out and do the work. Yeah, you.
Y'all, I'm so happy. Black Americans, I am so happy. One thing I could say that came out of this here Essence Festival, she thought that she was going to be bridging the gap when really she just woke more Black Americans up to the fact that them motherfuckers is trying to colonize us. I have seen so many videos of BAs using the right language, using the right word. It is colonization, okay? And because history is my thing, y'all, I know the pattern of colonization. I know exactly how colonization works. And what Africans are doing is colonizing. They're trying to colonize Black Americans. And I know people from African countries are going to come and they're going to say, no, that's not what we're doing. Yes, that is what y'all are doing. Okay? It's just like when the snow folk encounter indigenous people of any place that they've ever gone that are different to them, and they say, what's wrong with you? You're not living right. You're not living right. You're not doing right. You're not talking right, right? So what you need to be is more like me. That's why everybody aspires to whiteness. That's why everybody has to assimilate into whiteness. A lot of people from African countries want us to assimilate into them. Okay? And they think that if it's not like them, you know, and because we are black, right? If it's not like them, they're just they think that we're like savages, we're undeveloped, we're uncivilized, like all of that different shit, when really we're just who we are. And then the fact of, if you listen, like you let them talk long enough, and we've all had many conversations with them, they find it absolutely preposterous and mind-boggling that Black Americans like being Black American, and that Black Americans are happy just the way that we are. This is why they oftentimes try to convince us that we couldn't possibly be happy. But what about your roots? But what about where you come from? Or you don't know where you come from? Or you don't have a language? You don't have any African language? Don't you feel empty inside? Like, no, bitch. I feel just fine. Like, I don't feel lost. I don't feel disconnected. I don't feel nothing. The fuck? Like, Black Americans have community. I've always felt like I belong. Even times when I didn't feel like I belong, I still felt like I belong. Right? It has its ups, its downs, its good, its bads. Every community has that. Sometimes we get along, sometimes we don't. Every community has that. Okay? Some families are absolutely perfect, some aren't. Every community has that. But not every community has Black American culture. Not every community has the Black American experience. And this is why I say, and so many of us say, I would choose to be Black American in every lifetime. Because we the shit. We are the shit. And yes, it's frustrating, it's aggravating, because we got to gatekeep. People always trying to take our shit. All of the different stuff that comes with it, not to mention the racism. I rate that. Okay. But outside of that, man, I'm a part of the fucking dopest human beings on earth. Okay? And that is like priceless. That's priceless. But they can't fathom the fact that we're proud of our history, because they don't think that we should be proud of our history. You know, they whole thing of dissing us about being descendants of slaves. They don't think we should be proud of that. That we're proud of our ancestors. We're proud of the things that they did. We're proud of the things that they went through. And we're proud of their strength that brought us here today. They can't fathom that. They can't fathom that we like the way that we talk, and we don't feel bad about not speaking 11 different languages, because there's 11 different languages spoken in one African country, or any of the other shit that we have going on. Any of the other shit, right? And that even though we had all kinds of systemic shit going on, or whatever, like, we're still here, and we have so many things to be proud of. And so I love the fact that the Essence Festival just really brought that out. And I just love the fact that all of the different events that are going on is really making Black Americans, you know, straighten out some narratives and assert ourselves and stand up for ourselves and say, hey, bitch, this ain't motherfucking Thanksgiving, ho. You not finna fucking colonize us. Take that shit back across the ocean. Because we will end up dragging y'all ass from sea to shining sea before we will ever let you colonize Black Americans. Have a good day, y'all.
I just seen a video of an African lady complaining about how African Americans were mad that Essence Fest is now becoming a diaspora thing when it really was meant to celebrate our culture. And it's such a disingenuous conversation for a couple of reasons, and I'm sorry if I go all over in this video, but it really is so many things that's on my fucking mind. For one, when African Americans were going to Lagos a couple of years ago, when African Americans go to Labor Day and Juve, y'all say that we're the reasons why it's ghetto. Y'all say that we're the reason why things get shot up or get shut down. Y'all blame all the dysfunction on us, as if there wasn't dysfunction at these events prior to us getting there. That's number one. Number two, what happened to us not having any culture? Now we're supposed to share our cultural event with you? African Americans experience so much fucking xenophobia within the diaspora, and now we're talking about how we want to keep our event for us, and now all of a sudden it's, oh, but we need to share our cultures because blah 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 and blee blee blee. Bitch, no. Because not only do y'all not understand our culture, you don't respect our culture. Because anytime the conversation comes up to African Americans have no culture and we start explaining our culture, you try to strip it down and like bring all of its roots back to Africa. But y'all never do that with soca music. Y'all don't do that with fucking dancehall. Y'all don't do that with reggaeton. But yes, hip hop and rap music, which was created in the Bronx in the fucking 70s and 80s, yes, that is straight from Africa, from the motherland, because it has some fucking drums in it. Then 3, a lot of you are fucking xenophobic. And I know I already said this, but I'm going to keep saying a lot of you are fucking xenophobic. And it's a rhetoric that a lot of first gens and a lot of immigrants who moved here have. Y'all move into black areas. Y'all assimilate into black American culture, because it's not American culture. It's black American culture. And then turn around and don't want to raise your kids around black people because we're ghetto, or call us ghetto, and sit there and have the same fucking racist rhetoric that white people have about us and you're also black. I literally was having a conversation with an African the other day, and they literally told me that their parents moved them to the DMV, into Baltimore City, but didn't want them going to school in Baltimore City. Not even just because the schools are bad over there, but because they didn't want them around the black. Let's talk about how African people have slurs for fucking Americans, even Caribbeans. Y'all going around calling people fucking Yankee. Mind you, Yankee was a slur that the Confederacy used against Northerners. Yeah. And it's not even like, oh, I'm saying this to start a diaspora war conversation, but it's just the fact that niggas are so fucking disingenuous with wanting support and wanting us to share our culture because it's benefiting you now. Essence Fest should have and needs to stay a Black American and African American themed event. Why? Because that's how it started. That's its root. It's okay for us to want our events to stay our cultural events the same way y'all want y'all events to stay cultural events. The same way y'all want African themed events, the same African themed events with your music and your cultural attire and your food and all that. That's perfectly fine. We deserve that same thing too. And this is why, again, I'm going to continue to say it's a disingenuous ass conversation, because y'all swear up and down we have no culture. Now we're showing you our culture. Now you want part in our culture. And the lady who made that video, yeah, bitch, I'm talking to you specifically now, because you were so nasty and disingenuous in them fucking comments to act like you don't understand why people want our event to stay our event, while also being in the comments like, oh, well, your own should have bought it if that's how you felt. Even if a person across the diaspora bought Essence Fest, they should have still been able to understand why Essence Fest should have stayed Essence Fest. You as an African living in America should understand African American culture, should understand why it's important, should understand its influence. You should respect it, because that's really what it boils down to, is that y'all just don't respect African Americans. Y'all don't respect our culture. You should have respected our culture enough to know, let me keep this the same. Essence Fest has been a staple in the community for how many years? How many fucking years? Let me keep it the same. It's disingenuous and it's fucking disrespectful.
Yeah, the Black Americans, they won't be back to that, the Essence Festival. I just watched some videos and yeah, they won't be back. That lady said the originals are here. The original what, ma'am? Y'all are mad disrespectful. Mad disrespectful. But hey, you know what? You bought it. Good luck with it. Good luck with it.
Culture means earth, motherland, Africa, originality. So yes, whatever it is, if you're African, go back to Africa and connect to your source. Thank you.
This is an example of why many people feel the way that they do. She has not once acknowledged Black American culture. That's disheartening, because Essence Festival is specifically for Black Americans. We're welcoming of all communities, but why can't we get any shine or recognition or acknowledgement for what this festival was meant for? And it's no disrespect, once again, to anybody that's African or Caribbean. Love everybody in the Black diaspora. A lot of people that are native to New Orleans have spoken up and said that this display of the Essence Festival is a disrespect to what they've grown up to know it to be. A lot of local vendors that have produced a lot of great food are not showing up there, so people are not actually getting the New Orleans experience. And it's, once again, no disrespect. It's just with our experience as Black Americans, we don't get a lot of opportunities to just celebrate the work that our ancestors have done and what we are contributing to our future.
Well, I live in Michigan.
Yoruba? I think you were Nigerian. I just didn't know what tribe.
Really? I'm Southern.
By way of Georgia.
And that's where a lot of people are finding the imbalance, because we're being so respectful of everybody that come into our neighborhoods, into our environments. There's a lot of things that could be looked at as negative, but we have to start calling it out. It's not no disrespect. It's just our truth. And as Black Americans, we have the right to feel however we feel. And it's no disrespect. I just want you guys to take yourselves out of your shoes and look at it from our lens. But this is something that we had to experience from our ancestors in present day. That's it. There's no hatred for anybody.
With all due respect to the ADOSs, FBAs, to the Pretendians, to the Solanis, to the Black Americans, African Americans, to the ones that are on TikTok, to the ones that are on social media, perpetuating misinformation and disinformation in your community. What is the end goal? What is your end goal? I need you to understand this. I need you to digest this. Xenophobia amongst oppressed communities is nothing but self-destruction. I learned a while ago it's important to start listening to people that came before you, because they have experiences that you have never had. And it does break my heart to see so much misinformation and disinformation perpetuated on this app, especially when it comes to the Essence Festival. The Caribbean and Africans, they want what we got. They want what we got. We always ran Essence. We always ran Essence. What the fuck? Y'all should be embarrassed. The truth is, you don't know who is Caribbean. And most of the time, y'all don't know who African until y'all see their names. I'm going to read off my notes so I can be succinct. I'm not trying to hold you. So let's go back to 44 years ago. From 1981 to the year 2000, the editor-in-chief, the person who is the top decision maker of Essence Magazine. Now, mind you, the person who sets the tone, the voice, the overall style of the publication, decides what topics are covered and how they're framed, approves or even kills major stories, headlines, and visuals, quality control, brand strategy, content calendar oversight. And she was also the public representation for Essence Magazine, was a Caribbean woman. Susan L. Taylor is a first-generation American, like myself. She comes from an ethnically mixed background, Trinidad and St. Kitts. So all of this nonsense that you guys have been perpetuating on this app about Black immigrants and their children, for 19 years, Susan L. Taylor was the face of Essence Magazine. That nonsense y'all been saying online has quickly been debunked. Y'all not tired? Y'all not tired? Nobody wins with xenophobia. Xenophobia amongst oppressed communities is self-destruction. Y'all swear in y'all minds that we are not in 2025, that we as consumers are not consuming media completely different than we were before. Where's the 8-tracks? Where's the records? Where's the cassette players? CDs are still around. Records kind of make a comeback. Where's the VCR? Where's the motivation from your children on Mondays or even Friday night to watch their favorite television shows? There's none. There's Hulu. There's Netflix. I can watch it later. I can stream it later. Where's your motivation to go out and buy a copy of Essence Magazine? How many of you guys actually subscribe to Essence Magazine? How many of you guys have Essence Magazine coming to your home? Too many of you guys are nothing but agents of chaos. You are anti-intellectuals. You are anti-information. You are xenophobic. You guys are bigots and certainly disingenuous. Imagine not being a critical thinker, but having an opinion. Black people, we are in trouble. We are in trouble. We in trouble, yo. I'll catch you in part 2, where I'm going to give you the real information about what's going on with Essence.
I'm so over the xenophobic comments. Like, pack it the fuck up. Pack it up. Whenever we say, hey, y'all are trying to erase Black American culture, you're xenophobic. Hey, you all come into our spaces and co-opt and then tell us we have no culture, you're xenophobic. Hey, we would like to have something that's for ourselves. That doesn't mean that you can't come, but don't try to center yourself and take it over. You're xenophobic. Hey, we do have culture and you guys emulate it. Our culture is the most exported black culture all over the goddamn globe. You're xenophobic. Y'all really just want us to shut the fuck up and don't say anything. That is what it all boils down to. Y'all cannot stand that melanin rich people that are from America, born, bred, raised, have a long lineage here, are not just allowing you to throw us in a pot with you while you center yourself, uphold, uplift, and create more things for your own ethnicity off the backs of the things that we built without acknowledging us, crediting us, giving us grace, or even fucking being nice to us. We've always supported everybody. Enough with the xenophobia shit. Enough with it. When you come to my page and you look at my content, I talk about any and everybody. I do social commentary on everything that's trending. But when it comes to racial matters, ethnic matters, cultural things, you see me talking about Latinos that's saying crazy shit about Black Americans. You see me talking about Caribbeans that have said crazy shit. The Caucasian clear folk, Asian people. I don't give a fuck. This is not just about not one group. I don't care. So if this makes me xenophobic because we're actually speaking out, then I guess we xenophobic then. Is that the fucking new word of the year? Xenophobia? The shit is played out, bro. It's played out. Y'all just really want us to shut the fuck up and not acknowledge that we are heavily, heavily influential. It's really sad that y'all can't acknowledge that. Why? Why is it so hard to say, you know what? Black American culture is global. A lot of us have been influenced by it. That doesn't take anything away from you. Spread love, Mr. Brooklyn Way.
How you arguing over something that you don't even own? Essence belongs to Africa now, and that's good. There's no originality there, not zilch fucking nada. They needed to use something that was already platformed and created at its very core and foundation by Black Americans to try to siphon money from the Black American community. And it is what it is. Nobody really cares. We're just pointing out what's exactly going on and how ethnically they're trying to erase us by co-opting things that we've created and turning it into something else to make it seem like, you know, a few years down the line, you will think that Essence was created by Africans. That's not true. Our voices will not be stifled and we will not be silenced. And we will continue to speak out so that we're at least privy to what's going on so that we can be mindful of where we're spending our 1.5 trillion Black American dollars and who we're supporting. This is not to say that we shouldn't support Africans or shouldn't support anybody else in the diaspora, but we just want to be aware of what it is that we're actually pouring our money into. And because we think Black owned automatically just means Black American, that's not the case anymore. So I'm going to continue to use my platform to inform people of where we're spending our 1.5 trillion Black American dollars. It's not about who owns it anymore. It's about who started it. And it's about who's going to continue to keep it alive. It's relevant to Brooklyn Way. Hope this helps.
I hate the diaspora wars, and I feel like they're using a lot of words just trying to say African booty scratcher on the cool.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't like the way that she addressed the situation, understanding that this is a festival created specifically to celebrate our culture. We do not go to other people's culture and try to change their events or their festivals or their celebration to make it about us. We don't do that. So,
I mean, if Essence was up for sale, like a Black American could have purchased it as well. It's 2025. It's going to look different. America's different. Everything is different. I mean, a little intellectually lazy just to say, well, oh, it's an African that's leading, you know, that owns it, and that's another one that's leading it. So they're trying to change everything.
what was lazy is that you're taking a situation where artists that are Black American have felt disrespected, that concert or festival attendees have felt disrespected, and or that their time was wasted, or why would they attend it. That is disrespectful. That is lazy. And throughout history, we have been disrespected. There's a lot of layers to our country. There's a lot of layers to who we are as people in our culture. So to come in and try to dismantle that is insane. And the fact that these artists have to even come out and express these concerns when that has never happened before. So yes, the ownership is the problem. Yes, trying to come in and change the Essence Festival is a problem. You should have left it alone. And we're not even out here trying to call out names. We're not even trying to be disrespectful. We're just addressing the fact that we feel that our culture is being disrespected and that we do not like the trajectory of where it is going, as we should. It was ours to begin with. Make it make sense. I'm just so tired of people that's not even Black American trying to act like we are just doing the most.
Guys, there is nothing wrong with people saying that the Essence Festival needs to stay focused on representing and being the essence and the culture of the African American community. And the reason I say that is that as an African person, I have been looking forward to going to the Essence Festival because of how I've seen it represented historically, meaning really empowering, really showcasing African American culture, not African, not Afro-Caribbean, not Caribbean, none of that, not Haitian, not any other Black community, simply because that is the goal of that festival. That is the goal of the Essence Festival, is to showcase, to represent African American culture, because for so long it hadn't been, and that's why it was created. So for people to come on here and complain that people are complaining that they're no longer seeing that essence, the African Americanness represented in it, that makes no sense. They're right to feel that way. And another thing is that we don't need to have African culture represented or Haitian culture or Caribbean culture represented at the Essence Festival. It's not necessary. There are already so many other festivals and cultures that are showcasing all these other communities. So the uniqueness of all of those events are that you showcase a specific part of the diaspora. So there is absolutely no need to take another event and make it all about all these other communities, because it dilutes it. It takes away from it. It takes away from the uniqueness. So if people are complaining about that, please hear them. Please listen, because the goal of Essence is to showcase one particular thing. So why do we feel that it needs to showcase everything else? We don't need to. This is not why not me? Why not me? That is so ridiculous. We're all grown up. We're all adults. We can appreciate nuance. We can appreciate the fact that this certain event is dedicated to Nigerian community. Great. You go there, you represent, you support Nigerian community. This certain event is dedicated to African American community. You go there, you support them. But at what point do we need to complain that, oh, I don't see myself in this? Oh, why do I? No, it makes no sense, because you absolutely take away from the purpose and uniqueness of something. So we need to start asking ourselves why. And another thing that I've been seeing going on, around online about this discourse is who is actually at the head of this organization's Essence, and how it's now more Africans, and that's why the African American community is not being represented in the way that it should be. And two things can be true, right? It could be that, yes, because these leaders are Africans, they're now looking at it from their own lens, and they haven't taken the time to really showcase, to understand why this is so important to the African American community. And another thing could be that you can have leaders that are not from a specific country represent that country, right? Meaning that they could be more so good at strategic organization, right? Not everyone can be good at strategic and planning event. You can have an event planner or that is African doing Essence culture, but what that leader needs to do is make sure that the people that are being brought in, the people that are planning and organizing this event really understands the culture. These are the people advising them, right? So I think that maybe what is lacking there is that you have someone who is essentially Kenyan American that is running Essence, or they have other people in the leadership of Essence that are Africans, but they are forgetting to bring in real community and culture focused people from the African American community to guide them and advise them on how this really should be done, so that they continue to showcase African American community and culture within that event. So I think that yes, you can have people that lead from different backgrounds, but those people need to maintain the why of that organization, the perspective. And if they don't know how, they need to strongly, and actually not that if they don't, they need to bring in people who know how. And then another thing I wanted to add to this discourse is that, like, a lot of people will say, well, I was born in the US, although I'm from this country, I'm now African American, or maybe one of your parents is, and that is okay. There are so many events in this country, in the US, that are just Caribbean, that are just African, that are just this. So you can go to all of those and still see yourself represented. It doesn't mean that we need to take one event and dilute it, right? And I am someone that has been looking forward to go to the Essence Festival, and if I find out that it's just another, Jollof and a Davido event, which I'm obsessed with Davido, by the way, I'm going to his concert, I will not go, because I already see that in so many other things. So why should I go to that? That takes away from it. It takes away from the uniqueness of the why. If everywhere I go, we're all trying to do the same thing over and over, it doesn't make sense. And then another thing that I noticed, and I may be wrong, maybe this is based on my FYP, but I've noticed that it's a lot of African influencers, right? So I think that's what a lot of people may be seeing. They're like, well, where are the African American influencers? And that's something I've seen on my end. And again, it could be that I mostly follow African influencers. I do follow a good amount of African American influencers, but I see that there are a lot more of them at the Essence Festival, and that's who I'm picking up. And again, I think it just takes away from the why, and it takes away from why people don't want to go to it anymore, because they're trying to go there not to see a Jollof and Gumbo battle. They're trying to go there to really feel the culture, right, from an African American standpoint, and that's okay. We all don't have to be represented at everything. I think it's so ridiculous that we feel like, oh, everyone has to be showcased. I don't understand why people say that. It's kind of elementary in a way.
Listen, I understand that common sense is not so common anymore, but I'm gonna need y'all to get it the fuck together, okay? Quickly. Get it together quickly. Because I don't understand what you don't understand. I'm making it and saying it as clear as fucking possible. Like, when it comes to this whole Essence Festival discourse, y'all are really getting me tight. I have some Caribbean and African people coming in there talking about, oh, you're trying to create discourse, you're trying to create division. No, I'm not, because this was a conversation that was already brought up by the fucking foundationally Black Americans, okay?
This fucking light pissing me off, and I don't care. This video is gonna say how it is. What is the difference between what Rich Lou Dennis is doing, right, versus these American housing developers? What is the fucking difference? You find an area that was already thriving because of the black and colored communities in there, right? You then start moving white people in there, pushing the black people out, right? And you're catering to these white people. What is the fucking difference? Just because you own something doesn't mean that you should. Ethically speaking, I think what he's doing is fucking wrong. You acquired an event. You acquired an event that had historical lineage tied to it, okay? It was a event, the only event for Black Americans and their culture and their music and celebrating that. You found it as such. You take it, and now just because you own it, you decide to change it. You don't even change the name. So you're still kind of, in a sense, scamming the original loyal customer fan base. You understand? You're technically scamming them because they thinking that it's the same thing that they've been supporting year in and year out. You're taking their fucking money, knowing damn well that you're catering to somebody else. Like, stop acting dense. Stop acting dense. That's exactly what the fucking situation is. That's what they're talking about. That's what they're talking about. Us Caribbean people, we complain about it too. We complain about it too. When these foreigners come over to our islands and they're partaking in our carnival, but then trying to change it. And these owners of these carnivals or these bands start actually catering to the foreigners and not the original people. We talk about it all the time. Stop acting dense. Now, if these foundationally black Americans decide that they want to start boycotting fucking Essence Festival, do y'all really think that that shit is still gonna fucking run? You think that it's still gonna thrive the way that it has been? Do you really think so? That's like removing the Caribbean people from their fucking their carnivals and thinking that the foreigners are gonna keep it alive and well. Now, if they actually do that, because that's what they're talking about doing. They want to actually boycott Essence Festival altogether. They said, fuck you. You want to make it Africanized? Have the Africans support it. That's what they want to do now. And now, if these same Americans decide to come to Afrofest and Americanize it, you Africans better not say shit. Don't say nothing. Because what's the problem? What's the problem, right? What's the problem? Let them be able to come and Americanize Afrofest. There should be no issue now. I don't want to see no discourse. I don't want to see no think pieces, no nothing. Since everybody want to act fucking confused. I'm not going to fucking hold your hand as I say what I'm going to say, as you are too old, you are too grown to be babied and coddled to hear and accept the truth. With that being said, Black Americans are 100% allowed to want and to have an event that is 100% curated towards them and their culture without feeling the pressure of having to include other cultures of the Black and African diaspora. I said what the fuck I said, and there's nothing wrong with that. People from the Caribbean are 100% allowed to want and to have an event that is 100% curated for them and their culture. Hispanics are allowed the same rights. Natives are allowed the same rights. Everybody is allowed to have that. And I say that because of the recent discourse that is surrounding the Essence Festival. I don't know if you know about it, but there has been critiques basically from the Black American side stating that, especially with this year's Essence Festival, that it has become more Africanized, that Essence Festival has become increasingly more catering towards the African culture than the actual Black American culture. I'm going to make this so abundantly clear. The Essence Festival is known as the largest celebration of Black women. And I understand that when we use the word Black, we're including everybody that is a part of the African diaspora. But Black is a term that is referencing towards the Afro-Americans, okay? The Black Americans here in America. The rest of us, we put Afro in front of our title. Afro-Caribbean, Afro-Latina, Afro-Asian, That's what we do. That being said, Essence Festival is an event that was created to celebrate Black American women. Not Black women all over the world, Black American women. And in the recent years, due to the acquisition of the Essence Festival by a Liberian man known as Rich Lou Dennis, Essence Festival has become increasingly more catering towards the African culture rather than the Black American culture. And because Black Americans have started to speak up on it, there's actually been some African creators like basically making videos and trying to figure out what's the issue. Why is there so much negative conversation? Like, it seemed like everybody had fun. Two things can be true at once. Yes, people had fun, but they can still see that their culture is being less represented when this is supposed to be an event for their culture and another culture is being celebrated. When you guys have Afrofest, y'all have that. And if people were to go to Afrofest and now started hip hop here and rap over here, you're gonna complain. You're gonna complain. Because as a Caribbean person, if I hear somebody come to a Caribbean fete and they talking about where's the hip hop, I'm go and find that event. Like, you're gonna complain. So don't act dense. Don't act dense as if you don't understand where some of the negative commentary is coming from. Yes, people had fun, but they could have also had fun while realizing, yo, this is more African than it is American. And here's the creator, the video that I saw. I don't want her to get any hate. She already turned her comments off. The only reason why I'm including it is because every time that I say that I seen a video from somebody else, if I don't include them, you guys think that I'm fucking lying and just creating the story out of thin air. Or, you know, I'm pretty sure you guys are doing it because you want to be messy, but I'm sorry, I'm not lying.
Hey guys, I know it's been a minute, but I got some information for y'all. This is about the Essence Festival. So this was what they was trying to do, is a destiny swap, and I'm finna tie all this stuff together, right? So the first thing we're gonna talk about is the fact that these Africans that have took over the Essence magazine. So they thought they were gonna be able to take over the Essence festivals, right? That has to do with indigenous African American culture. Has nothing to do with them. They trying to equate us with them because they was trying to access monies and funds from us, and they got a rude awakening. So let me explain to y'all what was going on. I want y'all to go back to Katrina. That's the first thing I want y'all to see, and I want y'all to pay attention to what happened in Texas. That was a ritual. If y'all notice, it wasn't no men that died in that situation. It was only girls. That's because they're trying to kill off the feminine energy. So now they're sacrificing their own to see if they can get the results that they're trying to get, that they used to get from us, right? So let me tell you how the Africans tied in. I don't know if y'all guys remember when they start coming out with their festivities, when they start showing their culture about the indigenous of their land, right? Louisiana is the only one that did not get conquered, right? They still have the energies and the strength of their ancestors. They still follow the tribes of their ancestors, right? So guys, y'all got to pay attention to this. Now, if y'all pay attention, 20 years ago, Katrina happened, right? The flooding. I want y'all to pay attention. 2025, there was a flood in Texas, but that flood was actually a replica of what happened in Louisiana. Y'all got to pay attention to this, right? So now that they did that, then I came back to when they talking about, oh, y'all still in our culture. Y'all remember the Africans when they was doing talking about Shaka Zulu came from Africa? No, Shaka Zulu is from America. That's the part they don't want to tell you. All the stuff that was going on in America, and they trying to equate America with Africa, and you're not going to do that. We're two different people, and you can go read that in your Bible. It talks about Ham, right, and Shem, right? Ham is supposed to be the progenitor of the Africans. That's it. Not the Liberians. Now, you're not the Egyptians. Y'all not the Libyans. Y'all are not none of them. Y'all are the Africans. Y'all try to mix words up in the Bible so we won't understand. Right? So when that stuff went down with Shaka Zulu, y'all got to pay attention. A lot of y'all don't remember this, but I'm finna bring it back to you. And they was talking about, oh, y'all stealing our culture, y'all stealing this. First of all, we're not stealing African culture. African been stealing from us. Why you think they took over? They stole, they conquered the Essence magazine. They did not buy that, guys. They did not buy that. Y'all can say whatever you want to say. And then they thought they was going to be able to convert New Orleans traditions to African traditions, because they know that their time is up. Now, and y'all like, well, why are you talking about Katrina? Because you got to understand what flood means. Flood means to take over, to wash something away. What they was trying to do was take over the Essence Festival and wash out the American indigenous people's culture and make it look like it's their own. And they trying to wear these weird ass colors. That's not our stuff. Like, we don't dress like that. We're not loud people. So the things that they're trying to do, they're trying to combine with American culture. Not only that, what also is going on as well, guys, is that y'all got to pay attention to this. The flooding. I need y'all to pay attention to the flooding. What's going on right now? The world, the mother is about to give birth to new things. But right now her body is ill, so she's trying to kill off what doesn't belong to her. And that's what's going on right now. So with the African culture attempting to take over, because see, y'all forget, Louisiana is the only one that still has the rights to its culture, its nations, right? Its tribes. And that's what they're trying to take over. Why y'all think all this stuff that's been going on in Louisiana, the Super Bowl was in Louisiana? Because they was trying to see what kind of energy and magic was there. I did a video on this a while back around that time, telling y'all what they was doing there. They're trying to cipher in the magic from the tribes. They still know the original culture, hoodoo and voodoo. They still been doing that. They still doing it. So guys, I just wanted to give y'all a heads up on what's going on. So they think about taking over the Essence Festival, that they will be able to tap into our money as well. Y'all see how that work? They keep telling, these cultures think that we're really broke. They really do. But if we were broke, then why y'all over here? If we were broke, why is this not a third world country? They was trying to make it a third world country. They really was. They was trying to make us a third world country, and they see that stuff didn't work. And so what's now is that everybody's got to go back to where they from. But at the same time, what's going to happen is the fact that as everybody has to go back to where they're from, they're trying to take over America completely. They haven't, guys. They done been over here, they say 400 years. They ain't been over here no 400 years, because if they was over here 400 years, you should have been done took over all of America by then. That's including Louisiana. No, they haven't. They haven't conquered Louisiana, and they never will. So for you guys that don't know what's really going on out here, it's about them trying to take over us. And then this is another thing I want to say. Why is it that when they come to America, we got to speak everybody else's language, but nobody has to speak our language? And for you guys that don't know, English came from us. It did not come from where they talking about. They couldn't even teach themselves how to read and write. This is how you know it was a huge destiny swap. The way they tell you this, they like, no, these are our names. Browns, Smith, all these different Johnson. All of those are black names. All of those are black names. Those are not these other people, these other culture names. Y'all got to go back to the beginning. These people couldn't even speak English. We was telecommunicate. We're still doing that to this day. We're still starting to tell. We're going back to the old ways, and that's the part they don't like. So for the Essence Festival, guys, hey, it is what it is. And I'm going to put a link up, guys, so, because I need to go and get this website popping. I got all the things now. We just got to get the money, and I want you guys to be a part of this, because I'm not building this platform on my own. I'm building this platform with the nation of people and cultural people that believe in the works of what I'm about to do. But in order to do that, I need y'all. That part.